Greetings, everyone. I want to talk about the very powerful lunar cycle beginning with the new moon on July 17th. Before I get into the energies of this lunar cycle, I want to begin with a quote from Abraham Joshua Heschel, a Jewish theologian and philosopher who lived from 1907 to 1972. His work has had a profound impact on my life. I was first exposed to his work in my early 20s. And here is a profound quote from him that I think is important for us in understanding this lunar cycle and the times that we're in. Here is the quote. Awe is more than an emotion. It is a way of understanding, insight into a meaning greater than ourselves. The beginning of awe is wonder, and the beginning of wisdom is awe. The beginning of wisdom is awe. As we explore these energies in the sky guiding us in this profound time, the deeper that I dive into connecting with these energies, the more I am filled with wonder and awe. We are truly held and guided by the consciousness of the cosmos. We are loved and held in this wisdom. As we open to that sense of wonder, that sense of awe, we open our consciousness to connect with the consciousness of the cosmos and know that we are loved and held as we're moving through this intense time of death, rebirth on the planet. This is a critical theme as we look at the energy of this lunar cycle beginning July 17th. Let me show you the chart. At the time of the new moon on July 17th, the sun and moon will be at 24 degrees of Cancer, opposite Pluto in Capricorn, indicating that this is a very transformational time. And the new moon, which is birthing the energy of this lunar cycle, is at 24 degrees of Cancer, the sign that is associated with our coming into compassion, being aware of our emotions, being attuned to our intuition and our sensitivity for ourselves, for each other. Cancer is the sign ruled by the moon. It's also associated with the great goddess, with the moon, with the energies of the sacred feminine. So we're being supported in reintegrating those energies of the sacred feminine, coming back into balance within ourselves. The meaning of this degree of the zodiac, remember with the Sabian symbols, each degree of the zodiac has its own archetypal meaning. And the meaning of this degree in Cancer is about mystery. It's about attuning to the mystery of integrating our inner and outer realities to feel a rush of spiritual empowerment, letting us know that we are on track. It's significant that this new moon is not only opposite Pluto, it's trining Neptune and sextiling Uranus. So this new moon is in strong aspects to all three outermost planets, indicating that we are in the currents of these powerful transpersonal energies that are at work in us beyond our human comprehension. This is part of the mystery of these energies that we're in that are supporting us and guiding us. Pluto taking us through this time of death, rebirth, radical transformation. Neptune helping us to dissolve what we need to dissolve, to release what we need to release, to remember we're a part of the oneness of all that is, and to open more fully to that compassion and that sense of our interconnectedness with each other and with all of life. The aspect to Uranus is supporting us in seeing that we can move into these new forms. this new way of being in relationship with the earth, Taurus, the remembrance of natural law, of being able to break free, Uranus, from the patterns of the past that have kept us in this destructive, out of balance, patriarchal paradigm. Uranus is supporting us in seeing the truth, cutting through illusion, and daring to be different and to move in new directions. So I really encourage you at the time of this new moon to take time to meditate, to open to your dreams, to open to your intuition, to open to what is being birthed within you. What are you needing to release in order to birth what is trying to come through you and support you in moving into these new forms? And know that Chiron is squaring this new moon, continuing to support us in our healing journeys, to know what we need to release from the past in order to come back into wholeness, in order to be in this accelerated time of transformation and moving into new forms. I truly believe that this time is an accelerated time of healing and transformation. And at the time of this new moon, we will be in the final day of the lunar nodes in Scorpio and Taurus. Remember, the lunar nodes are in these signs for over 18 months. And the energies that they're in are showing us what we're dealing with karmically. What are we called to address individually and collectively? South Node in Scorpio, as I've been talking about in previous videos, is about what have we needed to bring out of the darkness into the light of consciousness in order to manifest and move into new forms, North Node in Taurus. You can think of this polarity as death, rebirth. What are we needing to let die in order to move into these new forms, new values, Taurus? A renewed connection with nature and with the earth, Taurus. So as Pluto has been squaring the lunar nodes and will continue to be squaring the lunar nodes until the end of the year, it is a karmic choice point for us as humanity. Are we willing to engage in this process of transformation, of letting go of what we need to release to move into these new forms, of being in our own spiritual and emotional process of death, rebirth? Let me show you where the new moon is in the sky at the time of this new moon. So while the new moon and sun are in the sign of Cancer in the tropical zodiac chart, in the sky, they are here in the stars of Gemini. Remember, Gemini represents the twins, Castor and Pollux. This constellation speaks of how we live in this realm with duality. The twins, Castor and Pollux, represent the energies of mortality, immortality. Castor was mortal, Pollux was immortal. They represent the energies of light and dark. So this new moon is supporting us in moving into this lunar cycle with the awareness of the light and dark within us, the way in which we are immortal souls having a mortal experience on this earth plane. But to be in this process of healing and transformation, we need to hold those polarities, the dualities within us, and come to center, come into alignment, come into harmony, and not be caught in polarization, caught in the tension of the dualities. It is time to integrate all of those facets of who we are to come into wholeness. And Mars and Venus are continuing to be next to the royal star Regulus. Look out at night after sunset and you'll see Venus very bright in the western sky. And you will also see Mars and Regulus close by. It is exquisite that these two are again reminding us to integrate the energies of Mars and Venus, the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine, to come from the heart, Regulus, with courage, to know that we can hold these dualities within us instead of getting caught in inner conflict that then gets projected out into outer conflict with each other, where we are alienated from each other because of our perceived differences from each other or the ways in which we get caught in polarization. We are being guided to remember our oneness and the way in which we can come to center, holding that integration of the dualities and polarities within us. The day after this powerful new moon, we experience the shift in the lunar nodes that now move into the south node in Libra, north node in Aries. How extraordinary is it that as the lunar nodes are shifting into these signs ruled by Venus and Mars, that Venus and Mars are conjunct each other, that Venus and Mars are conjunct the royal star Regulus, guiding us to integrate those energies. As we move into this shift in the lunar nodes, we now have a cardinal grand cross with the sun in Cancer opposite Pluto in Capricorn, squaring the lunar nodes now in the cardinal signs of Libra and Aries. This is an incredibly powerful grand cross that is indicating the time of transformation that we're in. One of the ways in which I look at the chart is from an evolutionary astrology perspective, which looks at Pluto and the lunar nodes to be guiding us in terms of what are we meant to be dealing with at the soul level. And from that perspective, where Pluto is telling us what's needing to transform in order for us to move into Pluto's polarity point, to come into balance with the point opposite Pluto, and that the way that we do that is indicated by the placement of the lunar nodes. Pluto in these final degrees of Capricorn is deconstructing those forms and structures that need to die in order for us to move in these new directions. Pluto's polarity point lands conjunct the sun in Cancer. How do we deconstruct those systems and structures to come back into compassion, to reclaim the energies of the sacred feminine, to remember our sensitivity for each other, our interconnectedness with each other? How do we do that? We do that, Pluto is applying to the south node in Libra. We do that through remembering how to be in right relationship. Libra is that archetype associated with the Egyptian principle of Ma'at. Everything is meant to be in right harmony and right relationship with everything else. Remember, Ma'at was the deity who would meet the soul at the time of death and take the person's heart and put it on the scales. On one side would be the person's heart, on the other side, a feather. And if the person's heart was as light as the feather, they were able to move into the other world and the other realms. If their heart was heavy, they needed to return and continue to work on their own healing process in order to release what was weighing them down or what was binding their heart or the ways in which they were caught in destructive patterns in their lives and in their relationships. So Pluto, at the exact same degree, 29 degrees of Capricorn, squaring the south node at 29 degrees of Libra, that shamanic degree is saying, attune to what's weighing down your heart. Let go of these dense, heavy energies that are ways in which you're out of balance in your own life. Allow yourself to heal, to come back into harmony, to come back into balance, in order then to express your sense of self, North Node in Aries, in a new way, coming from the heart with that lightness of being that is about living in right relationship and harmony and balance with those around you and with all of life. It's extraordinary that at this time, Aries-Zena is conjunct the North Node and Chiron is close to Aries-Zena. So the ways in which we can express ourselves in these new forms, Aries-Zena, that are out of the conventional ways of doing things, that are coming from our own creative impulses, our own spiritual understanding, coming from the healing energies of Chiron, guiding us to move in these radically new directions. We're capable of moving into new ways of being. This cardinal grand cross is saying we're capable of moving in these radical new directions. We can tap into that fire of creativity, Aries, Aries-Zena, to move in these new directions that are off the beaten track, that aren't the conventional ways of doing things, that are attuning into our own creative gifts and how we can uniquely express them in the world. This is such a profound time where we are being supported to be in this death rebirth process. We need to release what is weighing us down, to attune to what needs to heal within us, that Chiron squaring the sun in aspect to Aries-Zena and the North Node, supporting us in that inner healing process so that we can move in these new directions. Aries and Libra is about how are we in our self-expression, Aries, out of deep connection with each other, Libra, relationship, being in right relationship, right balance. Part of the beauty of astrology is this understanding that the chart is a mandala. It's a medicine wheel where everything is in these polarities of the signs opposite each other, guiding us ultimately to honor all of those energies, but to come to the center, to come into balance, to come into harmony, to hold the wholeness. Remember that in biogeometry, there is that sense that the energy of the center emanates BG3, the energy of love and wisdom, the energy of source, of cosmic consciousness, that singularity that births all that is. We're called with this grand cross to not get pulled into the tensions and dualities of these energies, but to integrate them, to come to center, to come back to wholeness, so that we are in harmony, in right relationship within ourselves, emanating that out in how we are in interaction with each other and all of the life around us. I know this looks a little overwhelming, but I now want to show you a few other points that are very significant at this time of the new moon and this shift of the lunar nodes. And remember, these lunar nodes now in Libra and Aries will continue from July 18th through January 12th of 2025. I truly believe that the critical threshold point for the shifts that we're making into the Aquarian age, into these new forms, the time frame is between now and the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. So for the remainder of this period, these lunar nodes in Libra and Aries will be guiding us in what we're needing to focus on. Look at where these are in your birth chart. Look at where you are being asked, what's the house placement where the South Node is in Libra saying, how are you out of balance? How do you need to come back into harmony, come back into balance to be able to be in your own unique creative expression? Where is the North Node in Aries in your chart? We are not meant to lose our sense of self as we move into the Aquarian age and that increasing sense of our interconnectedness and our interdependence and our capacity to be in community with each other. We're meant to be in our unique self-expression in community. We're meant to honor biodiversity and the diversity of our human expression, to be in community in a collaborative, compassionate, and creative way with and for each other. As we're dealing with this incredible cardinal grand cross, it is extraordinary that not only is Arizina conjunct the North Node with Chiron close by, but the Kuiper Belt object, Haumea, is conjunct the South Node, squaring Pluto, squaring the Sun. Some of these Kuiper Belt objects that are further out past Neptune have been named after indigenous creation deities. I've talked a little bit about Quawar, and I'm going to circle back to this incredible configuration in an upcoming video with Ixion, Pholus, and Quawar conjunct each other and squaring Makemake and the asteroid Ceres. But what I want to focus on in this particular chart is Haumea conjunct the South Node as we move into this shift with the lunar nodes. Haumea is the Hawaiian goddess of birth and fertility, who was seen as the great goddess protecting and overseeing the Hawaiian Islands and giving birth to all of life. She was also the goddess the deity who would come at the time of childbirth to protect the mother, to support the mother, and be the midwife, helping new life come into the world. So not only is she a fertility deity, giving birth to life and protecting and nurturing all of life, but she is the one who is the midwife supporting us in what we're needing to give birth to. So how profound is it that Haumea is holding us in this profound karmic time of death, rebirth? She is the midwife, present with us, supporting us, protecting us, guiding us to come back into balance, to give birth to these new ways of being and this new sense of ourselves and new sense of how we can be in community, in right relationship with each other. She is supporting us in integrating the polarities to come back into harmony and wholeness. She is also reminding us that we will not move into these new forms of the Aquarian age and create this new earth together unless we come back into that honoring of the sacredness of the earth, our mother, honoring the sacredness of nature, of natural law, of all of the life around us. We will not move into these new paradigms unless we come back into right harmony and right relationship with the plants, with the animals, with the air and the water and the land, all of the life around us. Part of the challenge of the intensity of this time is we are seeing the increasing polarization that's happening. As we move into this shift with the lunar nodes, South Node in Libra, North Node in Aries, what I've described is the more conscious manifestation of how we're meant to work those energies, how they're guiding us in our transition or transformation in this time. But part of the shadow side of these polarities is the way in which it will reflect, Pluto squaring the lunar nodes, some of the ways in which those who aren't working these energies consciously may be more attached to the shadow side of the Aries paradigm, which is the patriarchal paradigm of power over, of conquest, control, exploitation. So I truly feel as we go through this shift in the lunar nodes, we're going to see those of us who are awakening and working this time consciously moving into an accelerated time of understanding how we can be in harmony, how we can start living out that energy of right relationship with each other and integrate it with our own unique creative expression. But at the same time, I think we're also going to be seeing an increasing polarization with those who are trying to cling to the patriarchal paradigms and play out that shadow side of the age of Aries and the patriarchal period as we're in this transition time. But the key is hold all of that with compassion. Hold all of what you're feeling with compassion. New moon in Cancer. Remember, Cancer is the energy of the surface of the sea that is responding to the waves, responding to the winds. Allow yourself with that energy in Cancer to feel whatever you're feeling and then let it go. Let it flow and move on like the waves on the surface of the sea. Hold all that you feel with compassion, but don't get mired in reactivity to the polarization that will be coming out in an extreme way in this time. Hold that energy of coming to center, of being in harmony and balance within yourself. Then you're able to have the larger perspective of what's unfolding, what's going through this cauldron of death in order to support the new birth. We are in these labor pains as we are moving through this transition and transformation of ourselves, of our connections with each other, moving into the new earth. I truly believe, as the Peruvian shamans have talked about, we are becoming homo luminous ones, beings of light, beings of expanded consciousness, remembering who we truly are. But to do that, we have to release what's weighing our hearts down, clear the toxins and the trauma from the past, let go of these systems and structures, Pluto and Capricorn, that we need to release in order to be supported by Haumea, being the midwife, helping us birth these new ways of being. And honor that as we're moving through this time, these extraordinary energies of the earth and sky are holding us, guiding us, supporting us, protecting us. If we open to them and be in conscious relationship with them, they are there for us. And I truly believe this is a time of mystery, of wonder, of awe. As we are moving through this death rebirth, sometimes clueless about where we're headed, what the new forms are going to look like, how this is all going to unfold. But these energies in the sky are saying, trust this natural unfolding, that the cosmos is conscious and is working this process for us here on the earth to move through this transformation into a radically new way of being and a new earth and new paradigms and a new consciousness. Awe is the beginning of wisdom. Awe begins with wonder and that sense of being held by energies much larger than ourselves. So hold all that you feel with compassion, When you feel the turbulence, when you feel the storminess, let yourself feel it and then let it flow. Let yourself release it and remind yourself that you are held in the love and wisdom of the cosmos. Haumea is with us. These energies of the earth and sky are holding us and supporting us as together we move into this new age and new life and new birth. Blessed be.